Okay, recording's up and then, yeah, so Andrea, it's all you now.
Okay.
And do you want the PowerPoint first?
No. Okay, we will start our Stewardship Committee meeting, March 14th, 3 p.m. And we have myself, Andrea Brand, Director. We have Mike Kelso, Tom Dillon, and Molly Taylor, members of the Stewardship Committee. We have Carrie Nelson, representative from the BLM, and Evan Clapper from Grand County Commission. Okay, so first order of business is approval of the minutes. Was there anything in the minutes that you saw that needed to be edited?
I recommend we approve the minutes.
Okay,
I second it.
Molly made a motion, Mike seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, vote unanimously. Molly and Mike. Okay, so first thing there is to just look at, also we need to vote on the letters, ratify the letters that are in here. And those are, actually, maybe we should,
They're after the minutes.
yeah. They're after the minutes in your packet. We should, though, make a, let me look at the agenda. We should have you folks vote, though, to change the order of the agenda. And then what I wanted to do was just have you hopefully agree to doing our meeting now and then our interviews at the end.
So moved.
Okay,
I second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, so on the consent agenda, we want to see if you folks are fine with the two letters. We have one letter that you've approved before that the BLM, Katie Stevens wanted me to just clarify. And the only change is that it now says in the last paragraph, it's the last sentence, it says both Rill and Mill Creeks. As part of the list, you know, with Pelzer Bend, Slick Rock, Porcupine
Very
Rim
last
trails.
paragraph.
Before we had just said all other trails, and she wanted us to specify.
Yeah, I agree
So
with that.
that was
Yeah.
changed.
What is the access road to Mill Creek in Save Points?
That is the
X
part of
road.
the X road, that's to Rill. And then the other one is the out and back one that's close to that second overflow parking area for Falcon Flow on the other side of the road. It just goes out and back, but you can drop down
To Mill?
to Mill somehow.
Okay.
I haven't gone from that way, but I understand you can.
Okay.
So that was the only change on that letter. So, and then the other thing on that, ratify, grouping of letters is the letter that I wrote up for the RAISE grant. And you folks had all voted in support of the RAISE grant in the past, and, the group that, worked on the RAISE grant, they recommended that we have a letter from the Stewardship Committee, and so that's why I drafted up the letter.
Okay.
And you already did this with the county council.
Well, it went in as part of the, it's already
Yeah.
been turned in as part of the packet.
Yep. So we're, so agreeing to the ratified letter.
For the RAISE grant,
Yeah.
okay? You want to make a second? Mike seconds, and we vote, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay,
Aye.
all right, okay, so then we can just go to the remit sheet, with the graph. And there's not that much to show, because it's only February 2024 is the pink line. And when I met with you before, we were up 4% compared to 2022. And we finished the year still at 4%, because we met, you know, December 14th, so not much happened after that. So, and then you can see for February, we're up a little bit compared to last year. And pretty much the same for January, and that's really income from the campground reservation system. Okay, Matt, you can just go to the, PowerPoint. Oh, I'm sorry, not yet, not yet. I gave you the budget, balance sheets as well.
Yeah.
And, there's not really much to point out on there, except that unfortunately the budget is not shown on here. And I can send that to you, but that is true with all of the departments right now for some reason. Because I asked Christy, at the clerk's office, and she said, yeah, they're all like that right now.
We actually have the budget.
You do
so
from
we-
Cassell
if we-
from
Yeah,
December.
we
Yeah.
could, if we wanted to.
But there's not really much
Pull it up.
happening. You can see salaries and benefits. The capital improvement, that's gonna be quite a bit higher. You'll see a lot. It's about 8,000 because the BLM has been up there doing some work for us. So, okay, so then we can go to the PowerPoint.
Hold on.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, so we already, so I was just gonna, let you know that this is what, this chart is from the, business plan. So just kind of to remind you that we should bring in an extra 175,000 this year with the additional fees with the fee increase. So,
But why is the total in 23? Oh, the total in 23 is just lower than 2019, because 2019 was the banner year.
yeah. Well,
Okay,
yeah, it's all, I just kind of pulled this out just to give you an idea of what we expect to bring in again
Okay.
from the, because last year we didn't have a full year because we
Okay.
didn't implement it till, the fall. So that's what we should bring in this year based on 2019 revenue. So we will bring in more probably because we're finally above 2019 revenue this year. I mean, we were, but then we went back down. So this past year. Okay.
Why are we comparing it to 2019?
Well, we're not anymore, but we were for a long time
Because it was-
because of COVID.
Oh,
And Kevin
yeah,
Walker
yeah,
had said, compare everything to 2019. Okay, so we can go to the next one, Matt. Oh, so here's your part, Perry. The next 4 slides are you.
I don't know that I have any more to update than what Katie gave you at the last meeting. We're still just waiting on
Okay.
a response for the nomination. As you know, Bill Stevens is working on it and it goes through the National Park Service, so we're just waiting on their response.
Okay, and then have you gotten anything back from you go to the next one, Matt, from the survey that I did
Nope.
in,
Same quick
November?
update, we're still waiting on on the results to come in. We have not received them yet as of today, so.
did you do another one in this?
Not in Moab, so the other one is out of St. George Field Office, I believe, so the state of Utah does 2 every year.
Oh,
And they get spread out right over the state every 2 years for the year, so. Obviously Moab was this year, and then. I believe it's St. George Field Office that is working on.
so we don't know if they got theirs yet.
They haven't completed it yet. They haven't even done the surveys yet. So this survey was for 2024. For the year, fiscal year 2024. We did it in the fall, right? But so they haven't even done their survey.
Cause mine had a deadline of November 1st or something, so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess we're done.
I would have to look into that, Andrea. I'm not sure why that was. This, to my knowledge, these were included for fiscal year 2024, so I don't know.
Cause
if
I
there's-
even asked Jennifer if I should just continue it in the spring, and I said, well, I see on the form here, it says
Yeah.
November 1st, so I guess I'll just end it. I read it wrong and it said 2024 on it, but I don't think
I'll look
so.
into it and find out for sure, cause I'm.
Now I'm worried.
No.
Anyway, we did it.
and the acronym, GPRA,
No one knows.
Yeah, I do. It's
I just
the
didn't want to
government
okay.
performance.
Okay.
Recreation Act performance.
That's good enough for me. I was just.
Something
asking.
active.
I was seeing if anyone else knew.
Molly, now I'm gonna have to find out for you.
I always,
That's what they always say right before it's on the test.
I assume I'm supposed to know all acronyms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are you like acronyms?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm.
So the youth grant update, is that kind of the same thing
Yeah,
we're waiting?
yeah, unfortunately, just this backlog within the BLM of these assistance agreements and, they have not been allocated yet, awarded yet, unfortunately.
But we
so
think we're gonna get, we don't even know.
Yeah, it'll, as far as I know, it'll be awarded, it's just we're waiting for it to happen.
Oh, okay. Okay, but should be awarded, okay. And then the last one for you is just, the update on the nighttime.
Yeah, so, we are working through a, requested, or I guess it goes first saying a mandated cleanup of, the projects that we have posted on, the planning website. So as you may have noticed, and Andrea, you brought it up, but, we did pull down this project just because it had been up there for so long. So we took it down. It hasn't been canceled. We've just pulled it off of e-planning for the time being until we're ready to actually put it up there with a formal public, either public scoping or public comment period, which means that we'll probably be holding off on doing that until we kind of wrap up a little bit more of some of the travel management stuff we have going on. I'm not sure, I read through the notes from last meeting, but I'm not sure if Katie talked about or how much she brought up just the Beyond's desire to have some alternatives with it when we do put it out for, as, for
No, she didn't have that at
draft
all.
environmental assessment, so we would like to put some alternatives in there, and I talked to Katie about a couple options, one being, the nighttime closure is proposed from you guys, to include, to exclude, e-bikes. And then a second or another alternative to, have the nighttime closure only effective up until the, until Dave's Crack area, and then the roads up above Dave's Crack would not be subject to the nighttime closure. Again, it's just providing alternatives for our team to analyze and assess through the NEPA process. And then obviously the alternative as proposed by the committee would be the closure of all of the roads mentioned in your letter, from 10 to 6.
Okay.
And they just like to put out different options.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
alternatives, just to say that we've thought through some other idea options and
Yeah.
that, we're looking at different, different potential scenarios that could happen up there.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a big discussion when it came up here, and I
But
think that,
e-bikes, yeah.
well, and witch trails and that sort of
Right.
stuff, and it was, I think, in the letter, it was kind of because we were worried there would be confusion about which trails were open and which trails were closed.
Sure.
And then,
Yeah,
So
so,
that's great. They're, still looking at that.
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
and also that if we left some open, then they would all go to those, and like if we
Right.
left, we closed all the main ones, but didn't say anything about those others, and those others would have more traffic.
yeah,
Sure, and
Right.
so through
For
the
the future.
environmental assessment process, we'll have the various resources that we will identify as having either that we need to further analyze, right, that they have a significant reason why we would need to further analyze them through the process, and I would imagine one of those would be recreation, and that's where Katie being a part of this in the past, as well as just as we're doing that assessment, we'll probably reach out to you guys as for that rationale of, as you were thinking through the process, what led you to the proposal that we did.
Great.
And we do have a camera that I hope, that I should have all spring that will be tracking which vehicles go straight and which vehicles turn into hells. It'll actually have a system where you can ask it. And you can, Matt sent us, set it up, it's up there.
So
right
that
now.
camera, is that similar to
It's
traffic
facing,
counts?
it's facing Hell's Revenge, it's on the
Okay.
back side of the booth. So you can, it's, it's looking at all the vehicles, but you can actually set it up so that it's tracking where vehicles go,
Mhm,
where motion goes, and then you can like search that way.
mhm.
Because,
Oh, cool.
because I was told by Bill and Katie Stevens that they wanted to know, the BLM wanted to know how many vehicles are going straight and how many vehicles are turning into Hell's Revenge. And we didn't have that because we just had
A counter.
a counter on Hell's Revenge,
Sure.
and then our counter on the booth is no longer working. So we are trying to get another counter for the booth from Bill. And then this, well, we'll have this tracking one now, so it'll do both.
So I
Now
think
it'll go.
the interest
This camera.
from the BLM is having data that's going to back up the purpose and
issues.
need statement of which was claimed that it's a impact to
Cameras.
to the campers from noise, and impact from lights, and then, I'm drawing a blank, the third, which was, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Lights.
There was a third one that you guys included in your letter.
Well, it all came from the county.
So
Mission.
noise impacts for the campgrounds, the potential off-road travel, that was the one I was looking
Yeah,
for.
off-road travel at night.
So I think, that's the interest of the BLM when we're doing the assessment, right, is to understand what data out there is going to help us analyze these, the purpose and need of the project. So anything that we can have from you that will help support what you're hoping to accomplish out of this, the purpose, which is to reduce the potential off-road travel that may be more likely at night. If you have any ranger reports or anything like that of, I was out here on such and such date, and then I came back in the morning and there were impacts, something like that, that just sort of helps support the claim that the doing this action is going to actually achieve the purpose and the stated purpose. So that's what we were looking for as far as data. I think the data that was collected off of the traffic counter on Hell's Revenge is incredibly useful and helpful, because that helps us understand and tie potential noise impacts to the campground to actual users of the four-wheel drive road, right? Because
Right.
what we need to differentiate when making a decision here is the noise that is just an impact to the campground just from people driving the main road, as opposed to those that are actually actively engaging and utilizing the four-wheel drive.
Right, and we have counters on pins and things as well.
Yeah, so any of that data is super helpful, especially if it's broken down hourly, like the data we got for Hell's Revenge, where we can show that, what is the use from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock? And is that use significantly adding to the noise impacts to the campgrounds? Because those are the questions that are gonna come up. And in particular, those may be questions, right, that are gonna be raised by the public, and we're gonna wanna be able to provide a response.
Well, the first part of that, and I was the one that opened my mouth on it, is we have our campgrounds that have to shut down anything they have, any generators, and they close off at 10 o'clock. But yet we got people driving up and down the road, so
Yeah,
we have an obligation to these people that we're telling them, you got your quiet hours at 10.
sure.
And yet we're not doing anything about the other noise.
And I think, and 100%, we understand that and want to support that, because it's important for us to, right, to have that quality experience for the campers. I think we're just getting into the weeds of making a decision and having something that's substantial in the eyes of the public. If we do make that decision, is what data, or how can we,
Data driven.
how can we tie that traffic up and down the road to people using the four-wheel drive roads, to the point where we can actually say, well, if we put this nighttime enclosure, it's actually the impact, the cause to this impact that's happening to the campers. So it's just the need to be able to say that, this isn't an arbitrary decision. We actually have something that helps support the fact that, that people using the 405 roads are the ones creating the noise impact. That's what we're looking for, and that's why Katie was asking for the traffic counter data.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
I know.
7 minutes. Okay, go, anyway, you can just kind of stand down. So Kestrel Run is going well.
Awesome.
RAISE grant, okay, we're not gonna get into that, but the application went in, okay, on February 28th. It was approved by the commission. It was a close one there, Evan, without you there. Trish made the final vote. And I did send you the survey results, and links to those, and I did put an additional thing in the packet today that the planning commission had come up with. Just to let you know, the, Mark Finley's here right now. He's filming for Travel Council and for Active Trails and Transportation. I just got permission from everybody that I'm getting, the Ephemeral Pools video that Travel Council made with him and our Sandbox introductory video that you've all seen. That's gonna go on channel 6.
Great.
And then Mark Finley is working on a fairy shrimp video for
A
us.
different one?
A different one with Tim Graham, mostly using footage he already has.
Because we've seen Tim Graham, I'm very sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is a more detailed one, just
Okay.
on fairy strip, whereas the
Great.
other was more on tadpole, and
Okay.
so I said that it would be good to do that, and it's only gonna cost us about $1,500.
Okay.
So, because he has a lot of it already. BLM heavy equipment, okay, go, Matt, we'll just go through the pictures real quick, go past the survey ground, let's see, keep going. Keep going. Okay, yeah, okay, so keep going, though, actually, we'll just look at it real quick.
Oh,
This was the proposed for Hawks Glide. I don't have an aerial, but go to the next slide. So it's done.
Wow.
The Hawks
Okay.
Glide Eagle Eye
Up there.
intersection. You can keep going. There's the one little
Okay.
picture there. There's another picture as you go in, it's wider.
That's the one.
Parking on the left, parking on
Okay.
the right. And then they're building Falcon Flow toilet, and the next one shows
Wow.
incomplete. Just last week.
Wow.
It's beautiful. And then there's an interior picture.
Oh, nice. Corrugated metal.
You didn't have a bottle in there?
We're looking for one.
Nice TP, so you don't have to hunt up there for it.
No, and he actually made the metal thing to hold our TP containers, instead of like the BLM has like the bars with the little
Oh, yeah.
toilet paper rolls. He made a bracket for our,
Oh,
like the
nice.
double giant rolls. Okay, and then keep going, Matt, the bike
Oh,
tool
wow.
stand has been
Nice.
installed as well, right there at Falcon Flow, parking lot,
Cool.
trailhead. Or trail exit, whatever, and it was, let's see, Brendan and Joe got it in, and like, half an hour later, somebody's got their bike on it, and I was driving back by and I stopped, he already took it off, he was done. I was like, darn, I wanted an action picture. And then they went and did work in Juniper A, B, and E, fixed the, where the cobble was coming through in the roadways, they look really nice, all ready for the season. And, that was Lee and Scott, and then Kestrel parking lot, I didn't have them do this, because I thought we should just kind of go through the spring and see what's happening and see what happens with our raise grant. It's working, they're parking down below, it
Yeah.
doesn't quite show it, but they're parking down
Right.
below along the road.
Yeah, they're parking along the road and some people even like wedge in here.
Yeah, and then they could also parallel park on the road as you come in.
So
Yeah.
this is the top or the bottom?
The bottom.
They're parking on the bottom and coming up. The
No
thing
one's parking at the
Oh,
top.
okay, I got it now.
we didn't build it at the top, we didn't open
Right.
it up yet, we thought we'd go like a
Yeah.
spring.
I don't think you need one.
Isn't there a campsite right there?
Yeah.
We closed it,
Oh.
so we
okay.
we closed it, so we were gonna make it into this parking, but then we were thinking about, you're bringing more cars into a campground. Plus you have a 4x4 road going through,
And
it's just like, it's not like a campground
Too much.
anymore, it's too much, so we thought, let's have them park down below, let's see how much it gets used. It's gotten used a little bit this winter because it's locals. But
Yeah.
as we get into the season, how many people are actually gonna use it, or are they just
Yeah.
gonna come down? How many are
Right.
actually gonna go up?
and eventually there'll be another connector here.
Right,
because-
eventually, there will be some kind of connector to Slick Rock.
Yeah,
So,
Seems to be
so
working
we
so
wait.
well.
Yeah,
And if it gets bad, we can close that bottom campsite and just make it, okay, that's definitely all parking down below, and we can have parking on the road coming up on the left, on the right as you go up to the toilet. So I think there'd be enough, because I don't think we would need more than, 8 spots or
Yeah.
10,
Right.
So, okay, so that didn't get built, because we're waiting. Okay, Matt, let me see, I think that's it. Paint, the booth is done, we got our counters fixed, we got our inside all nice, working nice, and I think that's it.
How about the Save Our Tree sign?
Oh, I just put it on the back burner.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Oh, I thought maybe you had it.
No, I just kind of let
All
you
right.
know that it's on the back
Okay.
burner. Sorry, he didn't get back to me for a while, and then I just
Okay.
got so busy with the RAISE grant, I just
All right.
put it on the back burner. Okay, we did it.
nice.
Good job.
Let it be known, we set a record.
We have a definite record.
We're going at 4 times usual pace.
I know, it's awesome.
I think we
this
have a
is-
new standard.
I was gonna say. I adopted
Maybe I should
standard.
come every time.
Right, yeah.
Although I was the one that talked the most.
But you don't have to
Well, you
stay, right?
Facilitated us speeding. in.
Okay, so here's
You don't have to
Jenna's
stay
little
for the
application
interview.
again,
You
if
can
people
go.
want to
Yeah.
look at it, there's
You don't have to
hardly
be here for the
anything
interview.
in
No.
these things, unfortunately.
She doesn't have to stay, right?
No, you don't have
No.
to stay, you're not a vote, you don't
You've been in
really,
meetings all day.
you are not really a voting member, these guys are, really-
Okay.
I'm not a voting member either, but.
But you did go for a hike to make sure hiking
I
still
was
works.
planning on going for a
I
hike.
guess that would make us all happy.
She'll start here, I'll get in my Jeep and she'll still beat me there.
Hey, if this is the length of the meeting, I'll stand in for Katie every time.
No, it's usually quarter to 5 or
Are we stopped on the meeting?
No, we
publicly,
have
or-
to do it publicly, we
Oh.
have to do,
Oh, we can't. Okay.
yeah,
We
I,
can't tell stories.
I had
Okay.
forgotten
All right.
that, we interview and discuss and you guys vote.
But we can't pause for a minute to.
We
You can pause right now,
Can we pause?
right?
for a
Can we
minute?
pause,
Yeah,
Evan?
what's it called? Intermission,
Yeah,
intermission. There's
Part of our regular public meeting.
It's recorded.
Yes.
So we have 8 questions.
Okay.
Some of them are pretty quick. And so I guess we can go around the room. And do you know everybody here?
No,
No.
we should just all say hi
Introduce
anyway.
Ourselves,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm assuming this is Jenna?
Yes.
Okay, so Jenna Woodbury.
Tom Dillon,
I know you.
Molly
Yeah.
Taylor, myself,
Also,
Mike Kelso. Yeah, so these are the members of the Stewardship Committee. And then Evan is the representative from the County Commission. And then Carrie just left. She's the representative from the BLM right now.
Okay.
So
Do you have 2 vacancies or one?
we have one.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, well, Tom, you want to read the first one? We'll just go around.
Please tell us about your work experience that's relevant to the position on the Sandplat Stewardship Committee.
Okay, I came to Moab in 1995 and I was a member of the AmeriCorps team at Sandplatz for 2 years. And I've been so I left Sandplatz in 97. But I've been involved with the recreation community as a bike guide and as a, just various other positions, but I've been a recreational user, since 95 when I moved here, so I spent some time up at Sandbox.
Okay, cool.
Please tell us about your non-work experience that's relevant to the position at Sandplat Stewardship Committee.
Okay, I mean, just, I guess,
Would be about the same,
yeah, but I mean,
except you did work here.
I hike and bike up at Sandbox and I appreciate the area and I definitely noted the changes that have been happening up there through the years, and I appreciate that the cost of the annual pass has been pretty much the same since I was there until the recent increase, so yeah, I think it's very accessible and it's, I appreciate it.
Okay. If somebody's might be redundant because of that. Okay, what is your familiarity with Sandplatz and why would you like to be on the committee?
Yeah, I'd like to give back to the community a little bit, and to be involved with Sandflats again. It was a good experience for me working there, and I remember the stewardship committee meeting from, in 95 and 96. And I definitely think, yeah, sometimes things are political, and I'd like to be involved in a way that benefits the whole community, not just a certain user group.
What is your connection with? What is it?
Pedestrian,
Pedestrian, oh yeah, and
mechanized.
mechanized recreation up in this area. Yeah.
That's a complicated question.
In Sandflats in particular, or?
Moab area.
You say Moab area, but it probably should be,
It should be Sand Flats. Let's say
I would say
Sand Flats.
Sandflats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly a mountain biker, so I ride the Cyclop Trail a fair bit, yeah, or just up the road. I appreciate the new bird trails, up there. And then I've also done a fair bit of hiking over the years, and, you still call it the Elephant's Paw, like up there sometimes. Have you ever called it?
The Elephant's Paw?
Yeah,
Which one is that?
it's,
Thor's Hammer?
no, it's the Elephant's Paw. It's like, it looks like a,
I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a long
Oh,
time.
yeah, so I hike up there sometimes, yeah. Or just ride up and hike. I actually like the Juniper Trail too. It's fun. Okay, there, go up there with my kids, so.
Okay.
What is your connection with motorized recreation?
Burn Night took me out jeeping, on Hell's Revenge when I first got to town in 95. But it's, yeah, other than that. And I used to drive the Gator, all over. When I was 20 years old, yeah.
When you could get on the trails with just the
Yeah,
gator.
yeah.
And we're still classifying e-bikes as motorized, right? In our,
Yeah,
like in the letters and stuff.
No
yeah.
way.
but you can talk about
I mean,
yeah, it's still considered motorized. E-bikes would fall under this.
Yeah.
Motorized, so you have
Yeah.
an e-bike.
I don't, yeah,
Okay.
she doesn't need an e-bike.
yeah.
I wish the e-bike thing would settle itself.
Okay, I guess we're back around to you, Tom.
Oh,
So third from the bottom.
the stewardship committee meets quarterly on the second Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. Would you be able to meet on that schedule?
Yes, sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
That's
So are you good at math? When is the next meeting? I need help with this. Sorry, I just wondered if everyone
May.
knew when these meetings are gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I think
know.
the next meeting is when you start receiving stuff from Emery.
I was trying to be funny, sorry. I mean, it actually does mystify me. I'm gonna do the math right now. Okay,
Okay, how do you feel about the mix of motorized and non-motorized recreation in the Sand Flats area?
I feel, I honestly have been, sort of following the paved, controversy a little bit. And yeah, trying to consider everybody's user group ideas, I think, which I haven't heard from many people other than myself, as to how people feel about it. Or, I mean, it seems like the stewardship committee is in favor of it. Yeah, so.
but in the newspapers, like the county council has had to spend some time on it. I
Yeah.
think the paper quoted Jacques softening, or
Yeah,
coming around.
Yeah, coming
Yeah.
around.
Coming around. is the word
Yeah.
they use.
I mean, I feel like it's definitely, the UTV use has dramatically increased up there.
And yet part of the need is all the mountain bike shuttles, the massive amount of mountain bike shuttles heading up to Falcon Low.
Or to higher up, yeah.
Yeah, or higher up, or UPS.
Do you actually know, I mean, yeah,
Upper.
that'd be interesting.
Well, I
don't
definitely
know.
think that's a lot more travel than off-road vehicle travel on the road at prime season.
But I don't know that people are doing shuttles as opposed to their own shuttles, like,
Self shuttles.
yeah,
Self
Not-
shuttles.
yeah,
Well, the commercial shuttles
There's a lot of
business is
commercial
quite
shuttle
a lot.
companies.
coming through.
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
three
but
or
I mean,
four,
maybe
like
the,
3 or
yeah, that'd be
4.
interesting, I don't know if they're, are they going up to LPS?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
and then
it,
they just
like-
keep going, like,
Yeah.
as soon as the snow melts higher up, then they go around
Yeah.
LaSalle Loop Road.
Right.
But
right,
when it's lower, then they're coming
Yeah,
to San Flats.
right.
And then well, I'll just go last. What is your personal vision for the future of the San Flats recreation area?
I would like to see, I mean, I think the Sandflats workers are doing, I mean, there are a lot of people who've been there for a long time. And they're doing a good job of managing sort of the new influx of UTV traffic plus, you know, the car traffic from the bird trails, yeah. Just, it's a popular area, so I'm not sure, honestly.
Right?
I'm not sure, but I'd like to be part of, you know, creating a vision. I don't know if you have do you have like a?
Well, this is where we really needed help, you're not helping.
Yeah, well, I mean, they fall under our mission statement for the
Yeah.
San Flats recreation area.
Right.
Which, you know, it's I can read it to you, it's on our
Yeah.
brochure, but in general, you know,
Right,
it is trying to be, protect the land, but provide recreational opportunities and access and
right,
economic benefits to the community and to the county
right,
and, you know, remain self-sustaining and,
yeah,
yeah, so just that balance, just like the parks, I mean, it's taken from, you know,
right,
other public land missions,
right,
so long-term protection
yeah,
with recreation, so, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you hear an earful from a lot of different people. I mean, I think protecting the resources, something that maybe everybody can agree on ultimately. I mean, no one wants to trash the place because everybody wants to keep coming there.
yeah, but that opinion of what is recreational use in a very popular area as compared to trashing resources, there's a give and take there. So like putting in, like, I appreciate the Kestrel Trail more than I would say it trash natural resources. So see, it's odd if you're like, I'm pro trail.
Yeah,
So yet some people would be against it because it's impacting natural resources. So it's complicated. It's just
Yeah.
as an example.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So it's just where you kind of sit on defining recreational area as opposed to,
right. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I appreciate the
Yeah.
new trails up there. And yeah, I mean, I used to drive the gator on all the Jeep trails and and
well,
things,
well,
you know,
some people don't
yeah,
approve more trails,
Right.
so just saying it's
yeah.
a give
I
and
mean,
take.
but I mean, like maybe a campaign to, encourage people to ride their bikes more up to Sand Flats. I mean, I guess that's kind of outdated, but, you know, fewer vehicles going up there. I mean, I think,
oh, I would love if we could
Yeah.
have, well, this came up at the commission meeting too, you know, and I thought about it before, but I didn't make it as part of the RAISE grant. Because we're just focusing on the recreation area, but we've all would love for years, you know, for a bike path to come up from town.
yeah,
You know,
Right.
to the-
So.
But- and there
except
is-
I thought there was push against that, so I'm just saying, trail mix, you know, would love that.
yeah.
Headed there.
Yeah, is the bike path planned for is that kind of separated from the road? Like it's the paving?
Well, we put in the grant saying a separated path was feasible.
Yeah,
There's the wording in there,
Yeah.
depending on the topography and
yeah,
expense and all that.
Yeah.
So, that was, from the survey. When it went in the other 3 years, it was bike lanes.
mhm,
But this year, after the survey and taking that into account, we decided to say that it's gonna be a separated path because that's what, you know, the community,
right,
that was the feedback.
Yeah.
Of course, you're only looking at 400, responses and you
Right.
have, you know, 200,000
yeah,
people come here,
Yeah.
200 to 250,000, but anyway, and that should also fit in more with, a lot of what the RAISE grant is probably looking for.
Mhm.
Because they want to have that multi-use,
Right,
transportation,
Okay.
so.
yeah, and
Makes sense.
advertising that bike path once, once it's in.
Oh, yeah, it'll be,
And promoting it would be, great.
yeah, it'll be a great thing. Well, we just have to see if we get the grant.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, do you have anything for us? Any questions for us?
Is it, how long is the term? Is it?
Well, it actually doesn't have limits, but
Oh.
if people want to retire,
Oh.
they can.
Okay,
It is different than the other committees.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where are the details of the committee of, how many person it is, et cetera?
It's on the website.
Okay, thank you.
So you don't have, so outside of this meeting, what kind of involvement,
Well,
do
you-
the members have?
They-
I would say it's pretty minimal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, is that our next person? Oh, if they could just wait in that front room for just a moment,
right.
just a moment, we're almost done.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll go out that door.
it's kind of strange, because it's a public meeting, so
Yeah.
well, it gets crowded in here, so I want to
Right.
keep people out there, but
Right,
you can go on your phone or sit right there and listen to it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but do you have any other questions for us?
I'd say there's like some optional, like does trail work and sometimes there might be a proposed trail and people will
we'll
go
all
out
wanna
and
go
ride
out
it.
and
or
walk on it.
scout
We'll do
it.
a field trip as a
Yeah.
group to look
Yeah.
at things in the, in the field.
yeah,
Mike has been involved with the Red Rock four-wheelers, helping with trail projects.
mhm,
And well, Tom helped like paint the Abyss Trail.
mhm,
So it's just kind of, when it was
Right.
originally put in.
yeah,
So, and when we had the 50th,
right,
I
yeah.
mean, people got
yeah.
involved with that,
It's-
but.
Oh, I forgot to say that's mine. I had some experience with that, yeah.
I saw
I was
that
on that community.
on the app, yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't,
But it's super low pressure for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Oh,
It's kind
yeah.
of like things
It's more
come
like-
up and,
Yeah,
It's like, okay,
opportunities.
yeah.
they're gonna go out and take a look at that proposed trail, can we go?
Yeah, okay.
And, we all get
Okay.
anxious to do so.
And that comes from the BLM or Trail Mix or?
well, I can
Anyone?
come,
It's, we had a recent one from, actually, well, Cliff brought it, and I don't know if it was under the Motorized Trail Committee or if he was acting as an individual, but he had a proposed connector. And then when we were doing some of the there was changes to multi-directional to one way, and we kind of walked a lot of that. And there was another time when outfitters were interested in alternate routes.
the
and
staircase,
There was like
Yeah.
half a dozen proposals, and we
Uh.
went out, looked at all the little,
yeah.
you could drive around this tree, or you could go this.
Yeah. And then for the zip line, this is going back, we went
Right.
out there.
Yeah,
Because of the zip line going in,
Yes,
look at that.
Come from outfitters, it can come from organizations, it can come from individuals. It's
Yeah, it
just-
can come from the BLM, it can come from
Yeah.
Active Trail and Transportation, it can come from, Motorized Trail Committee. Just whatever
yeah,
is the issues, and a lot of what the budget, reviewing the budget, that's a big part of what the committee's supposed to, do
Yeah.
quarterly is check the budget. Our agenda, whatever projects we have going up there, whatever's been accomplished, usually some kind of construction projects or
Mhm.
something, a new parking lot or new toilet, like right now, we just had go in at Falcon Flow with the BLM. So I'm just updating the committee on the different
Right.
things that
okay,
are happening.
yeah, Okay.
Kind of just fill them in on
Yeah.
everything really
Yeah.
that's happening at Sam Flats and then. it
But
just
that's all
kinda-
just in the quarterly meetings.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
quarterly
Pretty-
meetings.
right,
Mhm.
okay.
And it's rare for anybody from the public to show up to them, they're pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do have so, do you feel that the relationship with the BLM is still pretty collaborative?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
very much.
Yeah, good.
They put in hundreds, a lot of money and work,
The BLM?
yeah.
Well, we have,
They do the
I'm
big-
talking to
big
them
work.
weekly.
Mhm.
I do have the BLM heavy equipment operator, 1 or 2 weeks a year.
Mhm.
We pay for materials and they usually do something in the winter
Right,
for us.
okay,
Yeah, and then it just depends on the different, whatever's happening, if we're building something, then the BLM engineer might be involved, the county engineer, so we're just trying to get in pooling resources all the time still, very collaborative.
right, oh, great, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I would say it's really like a model organization, like not just locally, but like
For the
it's,
nation.
I don't really know of anybody that poo-poos on the group. And it's, they raise their own funds, take care of themselves.
Yeah.
The county likes to show them off, you know, look at this, it's kind of a success story for collaboration all around, so it's not contentious. at
No,
all.
no, and
It's,
we've remained, self-sustaining.
Mhm.
We're not getting
Yeah.
any money from the county or the BLM.
But I mean, the bike outfitters get along with motorized outfitters and nobody
Yeah.
feels like they're, or to me, it doesn't seem like
No.
anybody feels like they're being
Yeah.
squashed or
Yeah.
anything.
Knock on wood, but problems are rare. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm rarely having to deal with an upset visitor
Right.
about something.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we're really talking about like.
And
an
once a
even
year.
trail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, did we have to put the cable in here? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nothing like big
Yeah.
picture. It's
Okay.
like-
Cool. Is Matt on the,
Yeah.
He's at home.
Hi.
He's
Say hi,
hosting
Matt.
us. He's hosting us.
is he a
Yeah.
committee member or a?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, well, he's
Well,
on staff,
it's
yeah.
He's
He's
on
my
staff.
minutes and stuff, yeah.
I'm an employee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
Employee.
Just mark him when you go
Okay.
through.
okay.
That's Mark and.
Oh, are we
Okay.
behind schedule?
Yeah.
already?
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm like, hey.
Oh, my gosh, we are.
We've
All right,
got-
Thank you. Thank you for your willingness.
Thank you. Oh, he's in the
Here, I'll
Trail
help,
mix.
I'll help. You don't have to do it.
Active trails and transportation.
speaker.
Oh.
It's a Wi-Fi.
I'll get him, Jenna.
Okay.
It,
Hey, this is our chance.
it is,
Mike,
whoever
Tom,
talks, it
this is our
focuses on.
chance. We could hire two.
Is it doing it
people.
on the-
One of us could go
I don't,
Can go what?
away.
Matt.
We could hire.
can you show
can't.
the YouTube?
I can't.
Here's our hot
Station.
It's
We could hire two people.
Wherever you want, I forgot it.
You're there, you can be there. Yeah.
I was just curious, Matt, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm finding it. Hold on.
Hi.
Hey.
What's going on?
Tom Dillon.
We were talking about the owl, and I was curious if you could show the view of the owl while it was,
Oh.
but it's
Oh.
minor. It's,
Tom, we're on business here. We got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't get it. Sorry.
Right, okay,
Good answer.
we borrowed this from another department, so our system isn't up yet. We got a new TV that's not up yet. So anyway, I'm Andrea Brand
Hi.
and welcome, thanks for
Thanks.
applying. And this is Tom Dillon and Molly Taylor and Mike Kelso.
me.
They are stewardship committee members. And then Evan Clapper
Evan.
is on the
nice to
commission,
meet you.
Grand County Commission, and then Matt is an employee at Sandflats with me.
Hey, Matt.
And he's hosting it for us.
He stays far away.
He does the technical stuff for us. So we have 8 questions here. We'll just go down the list.
Okay.
And let's see, let me just put your application out if people want to have it.
I read through them.
Okay,
Okay.
I guess I'll start this time.
Okay.
Please tell us about your work experience that is relevant to a position on the Sandflat Stewardship Committee.
Professional work experience?
Well, this one
Yes,
says
okay.
professional.
There'll be a,
Then there's the
Okay.
other.
that's coming.
So I'm a retired engineer, 37 years in the engineering business. So there's really nothing directly applicable from engineering to this position, I don't think.
Well, what kind of engineer?
Other than, my degree is nuclear,
Oh, okay.
but most of my technical application has been thermal hydraulic, temperature, pressure, flow type analysis.
Oh.
Although, when we have 20 minutes, it's like speed dating, so
Yeah.
I can't cover 37 years
Yeah.
of experience, but I've done just about everything I could do in engineering, managing large projects, supervising. I don't have a right hemisphere in my brain. It's all one big left hemisphere. So everything I do is, I always approach things with just logic, analytical. That's just my makeup. So I think that type of a skill is gonna be beneficial to any group, I think.
I can attest to that.
All right.
Well, please tell us about your non-work experience that would be relevant to this position at Sandflats.
So I moved here to Moab. Actually, my first day ever in Moab was to ride sled rock.
Oh, nice.
That was, I was thinking earlier today, if it wasn't for Slick Rock, I probably would have never heard of Moab and I probably wouldn't be living here today. So it's mountain biking is what brought me here, mountain biking and hiking. That got me into off-roading primarily because I needed a motorized vehicle to get to trailheads. That's a story in itself. That has then led into what is a passion of mine, which is to minimize the human impact that we have when we recreate. So I've spent quite a bit of time in the last 2 years developing relationships with the BLM to organize trail projects. I keep a rake in my Jeep. So I coordinate, Mike was doing a lot of this. He was getting pulled in lots of different directions, so he was looking for some help and I stepped up. So I've got about 2 years worth of experience almost on a weekly basis being out in the field, keeping an eye on trail conditions, organizing projects, coordinating with the BLM, getting resources, volunteers lined up. So I'm gonna do that in one capacity or another.
Is that with the Red Rock four-wheelers?
Yeah.
Yes, unofficially. It's not an official position with Red Rock Four Wheelers, but I do represent them in that capacity, and most of our volunteers are coming from Red Rock Four Wheelers.
Yeah, you do a lot of trail work with Motorized Trail Committee and Ride with Respect.
With the MTC, I do,
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
rake and
that's a
rides,
lot
I
of-
will,
Yeah, the rake and rides.
I continue to do
Motorized
that,
Trail.
will continue to do that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so I've been a few weekends where I've kind of taken point on that.
Right. Wow.
What is your familiarity with Sand Flats and why would you like to be on the committee?
So I won't say I'm intimate with all of it, but I probably spend as much time hiking it as anything else. I've driven hills, I've driven fens, I've hiked the raptor routes, rode my mountain bike on Porcupine. So, I have a kind of a broad understanding of what's there. As far as wanting to be involved, as I said, I'm kind of passionate about trying to minimize the human impact, but it's really more than that. I said that, my first day ever here in Moab was riding Slick Rock. And I don't think I'm unique that way. I think there's a lot of people that's their first impression ever
Yeah.
of Moab. So we have to think about the presentation, maybe like a better word, but the impact that it has in introducing this area to people. So it's that balance of making it a very positive experience for people who come here for the first time, but also trying to protect what we've got. I mean, I can't imagine what this would be like without this committee. I mean, could you imagine with the amount of visitation we have as close to town that we have, what the impact would be?
No.
So
Yeah.
I guess what I'm really saying is, I'm gonna be doing this in some capacity, one way or the other, but it just seems like this is such a perfect fit.
All right.
You pretty much answered this already, but what's your connection with pedestrian and mechanized recreation in Moab?
I have a connection with the motorized community. As far as the non-motorized, I'm really not connected to a group. I don't feel like I can bring that to this committee and say, okay, I'm a member of, or I'm, employee of a mountain biking community. Other than there's a couple people in the mountain bike community that I know. In my first time here, I was out with Mike and Maggie with Magpie. And so, I have some relationships, but it's not deep. But my connection with the motorized side is more extensive. And while I mentioned, I've been with the Motorized Trail Committee for a couple of years, so,
Right.
there's a representation there that I know.
Okay, thanks.
These are sort of piling on top of each other, but what is your connection with the motorized recreation involved? I think you've
I
answered
think
it
he
really
answered
well.
it.
So we can move
I-
on.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
have
think
to
I think the
read it, yeah.
pedestrian mechanized question
Is-
is more foot and bike, and then motorized is the.
Yeah, but,
We're learning too.
right.
No,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I get
Mechanized
it,
the bike,
I get it.
Yeah.
But, like,
We each just made up a question on the way over here.
These were set. The stewardship committee meets quarterly on the second Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. Would you be able to meet this schedule?
Absolutely, and I'm kind of, I'm not placed to, I was a little surprised to hear that it only meets quarterly and not more frequently, and the fact that it meets so infrequently, it would have to be a priority.
Right.
Yeah, but I, until a couple months ago, I used to tell people that I wasn't retired, I was just 90% unemployed. Well, now I'm officially retired, so
We,
I don't have many things that are tapping into my schedule right now.
I could.
Right.
How do you feel about the mix of motorized and non-motorized recreation?
I don't think it's as big a problem as it's portrayed to be, and I think Slick Rocks is probably the best example of that, where you've got motorcycles and mountain bikes that get along famously. But as a mountain biker, I prefer single track. I love single track. But if there's a trail that goes someplace that I want to go, I am grateful for whoever built it. It takes me where I want to go. And if it's a motorized trail and I see a motorized vehicle, it doesn't upset me, because it was, you know, it's built for motorized activity. I think most mountain bikers understand that. If they're on a trail that's open for motorized vehicles, they're gonna see motorized traffic on it. As a Jeeper, I don't have a problem when I see pedestrian traffic on a trail, because that's my first love. So I just don't think it's a problem, honestly. And where it is, I think it can be managed.
who's got the last?
I do. What is your personal vision for the future of Sand Flats area?
It's really hard to have a personal vision for something that I've had no responsibility for, but so I came here in 2005. That's my first time here. And since 2005, I can't say that I've seen a huge difference, other than maybe improvements in the camping aspect of it, and I'm not a camper. But I would say if we have the same product 20 years from now, we've done a great job. If the trails are still in the same condition they're in, and the amenities are clean and in good condition, I think that would be a huge success with the amount of traffic that we have, amount of visitation like that.
I became the manager in 2004.
Great work, yeah.
Look at her now.
That means Renee worked for Mike Smith?
What? Renee?
Jenna.
No, she worked for AmeriCorps, so before my.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
AmeriCorps.
Is that
Okay, sorry. She just
Sorry.
threw it out, yeah.
But I do have one specific, since you asked the question, I'll throw this out there, one specific vision. This may not be the place I always let Mike know, but so I was on Fins last week. And in the things section, about halfway between Sand Flats Road and where you come in from the water tanks, there's a section that's maybe,
Oh, on Porcupine, from the Porcupine Rim water tanks up there going in
It's-
on Porcupine 4x4.
no, this is on Fins. So
Oh.
if you go in Fins for the northern section.
The diving board.
Yes, about halfway between there and where you meet the trail coming in from Radio Tower is a section that's really wide. It's about 6 vehicles wide. It reminds me of the section on Porcupine before you get to Tower Rock Flats, where people keep trying to find a way that's smooth. And it's not, it's just rough. And it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. And I think we need to do something there
Oh, yeah, there's always,
to channel it in.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's very rocky
It's very rocky,
and
yeah.
it's,
Yeah, it's
I
Like
mean-
chunky
yes,
rock or
Yeah.
like?
it's a
Yeah,
curve around to
yeah.
the left, and people
But-
keep looking for that
Yeah,
little
but do
sandy
we
strip
just
out there.
keep fencing things in, or, you know, it's a build, I'm just saying.
Yes,
the
I-
Challenges are huge.
I will
Yeah.
reserve comment and until I'm, if and when
Yeah.
I'm on the committee about that whole concept about the.
No, we
Mitigation.
we
strategy.
kind of, you know, well, when they've gone, when you're looking at like, okay, when we see new damage, we will go and try to just block it simply
Yes,
with rocks and wood and carcinite or something.
Yeah.
And then if it continues, then we're like, you know, first of all, when we first see the damage, we're like, why is this happening? You know, is it because they can't do the obstacle anymore, most of them, because it's so hard? You know, we have all the rentals that come with You know,
Right.
that's another whole factor there is all the rentals. And so then we'll be like, okay, we're gonna, you know, you keep watching it, all right, we need a fence, you know, or do we need to move
Yeah.
the trail? Sometimes we have to work with the BLM and the road department and say, let's shut this part down and move this part over
Yeah,
and open
there's
it
a
up. We have
psychology
done that
to it.
in a few places.
There's a psychology I don't understand, like there's a new bypass that opened up on the approach to Kenny's Climb, when you start to climb up that bend, some of them start cutting the corner off, and I'm thinking, you're
Right.
80% of the way on the trail, you've done all of this already, and now you wanna create a new bypass, just to avoid, you
The
know.
people driving.
Well, and
I
the whole
don't
thing is
understand it.
too, if just two of them do it, it looks like it's a trail that's been there forever. So
Yeah.
you have to just nip it in the bud
Yeah.
and put up another arrow sign and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's ongoing. I mean, I was out, last week with our new UTV. I was driving it. Brendan is teaching me
There
to
you
drive a
go.
new one. And, so that section I went on looked pretty good, but I still had about 6 arrows I wanted them to put in. Cause arrows are great, you know, cause you wanna, okay, why are they going off-road? Is it because they don't understand where they're supposed to go?
Yeah.
Is it because 2 people went there, now it looks like the trail? Is it too difficult? And then the other thing is you have all these different types of vehicles. You have the motorcycles, you have the UTVs, you have the people that are renting the UTVs, you have the full-size Jeeps. So it's like, cause when we first made Fins and Things one way, I really thought it was gonna get narrower.
Right,
And we tried, but
But it got
you,
wider.
everybody's gonna miss each other. Because they're going different speeds. So yeah, there's a
Yes.
lot of parts to it, you know.
we deal with it all the time too,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
but no, that's
It's
fine.
endless.
Yeah.
It's funny, I know we got 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's, I know when I first got involved with Red Rock Four Wheelers, Mike was having us do a lot of projects here. And the last couple of years, we've been out in the field a lot. We haven't been here in Sand Flats. And, I'll talk to Mike more about maybe why that is and, you know, if you still have the need for us to do volunteer projects here. I mean, the need is great everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
partly because, maybe because I've been coordinating it, Mike's been coordinating less of it. And I always think, well, Sand Flats is taken care of, but, if
Mike learned how to delegate.
Well,
It works out just fine.
It works
too.
great.
Yeah, we kind of, it just depends on what the issue is and who's got the time and stuff, but I do have a full staff again. I was down a little
Okay.
bit through COVID and stuff, so I do
And
have
they do a good
a
job.
full
Yeah.
staff, and so
The
we can,
biggest thing we can do is I go out and ride around and see what I don't like and then come back and tell her and tell
Yeah, I
her.
like to monitor.
Right,
yeah, and then we have our lists, of course, and yeah,
It's
so,
cool.
but when we have, there's definitely projects will come up. Like
Right.
you guys did that fence last year. That was great. I had Friends for Four Wheeling, I had Red Rock Four Wheelers, and we had Motorized Trail Committee, and we had the Outfitters and Sand Flats, and
right.
did like 3 projects. Well, 4 with the trail mix came up and did some too. So we
Yeah.
had 4 projects in February.
Well, see, I put
Great.
together a list that I've been coordinating with Carrie with the last couple of years, but nothing for Sand Flats gets on that list. So that's
Yeah.
what I realize maybe is a weakness in my process, so.
Well, I mean, like I said, now that I finally was fully staffed this fall. And so now my 2 people that are more maintenance focused, they can focus. So I think we're gonna be, anyway, but it's
Good.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's always
Yeah.
that's-
So when she has a question or a problem that we've gone out and looked at things together and figured out what we could do or not do.
Yeah.
And as you said, if the in-house people can take care of it, they take care of it. If it's a bigger process than that, then we've come in and out.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying is just let Mike know and I'll integrate it into my bigger list that I use to communicate with the BLM and what I share with the volunteers.
Okay, sounds good. Well, do you have any further questions any questions for us?
Can you give me maybe just a 5-minute overview of what the steering committee does?
Sure, I guess what's on the website isn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of rough idea, but I wanna,
Yeah, no, that's fine, because we had that question from the last applicant as well. So, well, Evan, did a good job last time.
It's a public entity, so a lot of the role is to kind of be the eyes and ears of the public to just kind of make sure things are on the up and up. So before you guys came in, we reviewed the budget, expenditures, that kind of stuff, and so we're just kind of a set of eyes to make sure nothing wonky's happening. There's a lot of kind of long-term sort of visioning in terms of campground maintenance, you know, putting in the shade structures, which roads are a priority to get repaired. So it's not just the trails, but, you know, if there's gonna be an engineer up there with an excavator, where are we gonna send them? What are they gonna do? It's reviewing contracts with the trash guys and the guys that pump the toilets and all that kind of stuff. And then when there are questions about trails and little reroutes, whether that's on motorized trails or human trails, or, you know, do we want to designate this trail as a trail? You know, there's kind of unofficial routes that, you know, sometimes see the light of day and sometimes are kind of closed off.
Right.
That all kind of comes through this board, and,
What fraction of your budget is used for improvement versus maintenance?
Well, it can be quite a bit for improvements.
Can it?
It depends, like this year, we put 250,000 is sitting there though for the match for the seed money for the RAISE grant. If we get the RAISE grant, which is
For
to
the
pave the
pavement.
road.
Yeah.
So it's not a match because we don't have to have a match, but it was seed money. So the road department put in 250,000, we put in 250,000. We put in 125,000 for toward a match for RTP grant. But we're actually not gonna do that this year, but it was already put in the budget, so it's just sitting there. The thing about the Sandbox budget is we're an enterprise fund. So we're not competing with the rest of the county for money. We have our own money from what we bring in at the entrance station and when we get grants. So, if we don't spend, it just rolls into the next year,
That's
you
great.
know? So that's a wonderful thing. You know, for years, we had hardly any money for years. And then the visitation picked up and we increased our fees. So since 2016, we've had a good fund balance. Like right now, we have over $600,000 fund balance.
That's awesome.
And a lot of
So-
it goes to salary for the staff, I mean, in a sense.
Yeah, your biggest is your
Yeah.
salary benefits.
Because
of
they're
course.
running.
And,
Sandbox.
and I just update the committee quarterly and let them know like everything that's going on. I'll tell them about, you know, this is the staff training, which I didn't say to you today was on our list, but I tell them about staff training. I tell them about like, you know, I just got some of our videos on channel 6. We had the BLM give us an update. We had quite a few things that we're working on with the BLM, like a grant we're waiting on, a survey we just did for them. We're waiting on results. You know, Hell's Revenge has been nominated as a national recreation trail. We're waiting to find out what happens with that. And then the one thing that's been like controversial over the last few years, you know, like the RAISE grant, it's a little bit, and then nighttime trail closure. I know some of the committee members did get some not always positive feedback about that. And so anyway, just really everything that's going on at Sandplatz, I'm informing the committee about, asking for their feedback. Sometimes they need to vote on things, you know, like when we're writing letters or like we did today or.
All that in 4 meetings a year,
Yeah.
huh?
Well, we really just approved
They-
or.
Well, they just
They're
back you up.
oversight, they're
They
oversight.
just backing
Yeah.
you up. Yeah.
and that's when we take action. If there's something pressing, there might be, you know, prep that happens outside the meeting, leading up to the meeting,
Okay.
so.
And then usually, you know, I just increased the fees last year.
Mhm.
So that's a big process because I have to do the federal and the county and the federal, but it starts with the committee helping me decide, you know, my staff and the committee and then
Yeah.
them approving, then I go to the commission, then I go
So
to
you're
the
not
feds.
having to make those decisions.
No,
That's
no,
great.
no, we bounce all these things, you know, off of.
Great.
bounce them
Thank
off of
you.
them. So she's starting the clock. but
I know.
our first year-
Well, then I
our
have,
first year-
Yeah, he did,
Oh,
he walked
Yeah,
through.
Oh,
he's been
okay.
there.
Okay, well, we'll get 5 minutes.
Okay.
all right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
Okay.
See you later.
Thanks for your willingness.
And there's a door here too.
I'm gonna talk to Tyson on the way out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
See,
you
couple
want
people
me to
over
go
there.
around? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Reed's ready.
Come on in, Reed.
Here.
All right.
Howdy.
Take a seat. So we have 8 questions. Do you know, just go around the room. This is Tom
Tom.
Dillon,
Hi, Tom.
And Good to meet
you. Nice to meet you.
Molly
Molly
Taylor,
Yeah, Mike Kelso. Mike.
So they're the committee members right now, and then Evan Clapper's from the Grand County Commission. And we usually have a BLM person too, like Carrie was here today.
Sure.
It's either Jennifer or Katie or Carrie.
And what was your first name? Reed. Reed, okay.
And Matt's staff and.
Oh, yes,
uh,
sorry, Matt.
He runs.
Hello.
And it is being
YouTube.
recorded, so,
Okay.
you know, just so it's not a surprise.
All right.
Yeah, all right, well, I guess I'll start, makes it simpler, for me anyway. Okay, so I have a few questions here. Please tell us about your work experience that is relevant to a position on the Sand Flats Stewardship Committee.
I have been a mountain bike guide in Moab for 10 years. Moved here for that. And so, yeah, I've guided pretty extensively in Sand Flats. And now I own the company. So, yeah, we have a permit with BLM. So I'm pretty familiar with you know, what kind of commercial activities are allowed, the stipulations behind that, et cetera.
Which company is it?
Grim Tours, not
Oh,
like.
that's what I thought, okay. No. Okay,
Please tell us about your non-work experience. Sorry.
That's relevant to the position on San Francisco.
Let me find which pocket it's in.
Super, yeah, I have been on the Motorized Trails Committee, for about 3.5 or 4 years.
I'll have to call back.
And, yeah, during that time, you know, more acquainted with how, land management, processes, go about co-working, with the county, et cetera. I'm also the e-bike rep for the Motorized Trails Committee. So kind of during that time, we have started an e-bike subcommittee. And kind of, yeah, familiar with the slow machinations of going about doing things. So, yeah, that's most of it. I've also, yeah, done a lot of other volunteering, helped start a industrial sewing professional design studio in Denver, called the Denver Design Incubator that, yeah, kind of like, gave basically a professional working space, a co-working space so that, people like doing, clothing development. I was personally into like ski and snowboard stuff. And it just takes really specialized tools. If you don't have the right tools, you just can't, it looks like you're making homemade stuff. And so, yeah, that's still a functional thing. 10 years ago since I left Denver.
Very good.
What is your familiarity with Sand Flats and why would you like to be on the committee?
I would say I've been on like every designated route pretty much, like haven't been to like Rill Creek, a couple of those like really deep spots haven't been into, but, yeah, I have, picked up motorcycling, so I motorcycle quite a bit. And so, yeah, I ride fins and things regularly. Slick rock a little bit less, e-bike slick rock quite a bit, and a little bit of Hell's Revenge mixed in there, usually for transit. And, yeah, I think my interest, in being part of the group is to make sure that, you know, someone who represents those parts of the community, the e-bikes, motorcycles, OHVs, mountain bikes, all that, is having, a seat at the table, for what I see as a really important part of the town. And, you know, of course, the local recreation opportunities, most people participate and go in there regularly.
was your connection with the pedestrian and mechanized recreation in Moab? Or did we say that's more
Hiking, biking.
Hiking,
yeah,
biking,
hiking and biking?
Right,
kind of answered it, but
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
and, yeah,
do you have more to add?
I mean, I am not usually a hiker, but I do have a dog, so, you know, I probably go dog walking at Sand Flats about 20 times a year. But I'm not not typically going like backcountry hiking, as many people do. Yeah, like I said, haven't been to the like deep hiking spots that are, you know, Real Creek, et cetera.
which leads into the next question, which you have answered, but I'll do it anyway, your connection with motorized recreation in the Moab area. So you mentioned motorcycle, e-biking, but I'll ask you again, so.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
I mean, additionally, like our company has a lot of 4x4s, I have several trucks, so, you know, yeah, I poke onto fins and things a little bit, you know, occasionally we go up there to, do like driving practice, in a closer environment, and then, yeah, like, so just a small amount of four-wheeling.
Okay. The Stewardship Committee meets quarterly on the second Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. Would you be able to meet that schedule?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that coincide, that is the Motorized Trails Community Day, so, my attendance there is pretty good.
Okay.
Uh,
It's just later, just lots of meetings that day.
yeah, that is a commitment to a day of meetings for sure. Everybody knows about that here, I would think, so.
That's how I do it, stack them.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, quarterly is pretty good. As a business owner, I do have like, occasional hard commitments. But yeah, I would say my attendance at like MTC, which is monthly, is probably, well over 80 or 90%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and, how do you feel about the mix of motorized and non-motorized recreation in Sand Flats?
I think it's like well represented. Most parts of the program could use refinement. I think, you know, one thing I'm pretty in tune with, is like the spectrum of electric motorcycles and bikes, which I think is probably gonna be a pretty big, thing on the scene, coming up, given Slick Rock being a motorcycle trail. There's gonna be a massive spectrum of e-bikes, that range from, you know, pedal assist and like our newest bikes, you can't tell. There's just like the smallest little port, no beeping, like one little light. You can't see the battery or the motor. Up to, you know, full size, motocross competition ready motorcycles. And everywhere in between, there's gonna be, full power pedal assist motorcycles. There will be beach cruisers up there all the time.
Well, everything with two wheels is permitted on Slick Rock.
Right, but well, are you suggesting, which I hope, in the future, we're looking at the challenge on the non-motorized sections for e-bikes?
Is that what you're
Is that
talking
what
about?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like
The-
and then,
the
I mean, I
future
think,
is gonna come knocking.
right, I think, yeah, like we are already, in the e-bike subcommittee, working to survey, the people
For-
at all levels, to decide what the future of mountain bike trails should look like. And so I think that, you know, that definitely affects the mix of motorized and non-motorized. And yeah, like I'm pretty vocal about my opinions on this one. Like I think in most cases, mechanized is the new direction we should be looking at, because most people are gonna feel, I'm quite certain about this, that at least class 1 e-bikes should be allowed on most mountain bike trails. And so, and to me, that's a good thing. You know, there's especially at sand flats, that pedaling up the road, if people are e-biking up the road and this future path, and then riding down sand flats, or down Raptor route, that's far preferable to them shuttling, and the increased traffic that's driven by shuttling. And so I think, you know, the promise of e-biking through sand flats is fantastic. Vastly reduced, vehicular traffic. When we got a bike path that goes the whole way up, that's a great thing to me. At the same time, like, I see that there is, you know, obviously places where people don't want motors. There's adjacent or involved in a wilderness study area, and hiking areas. No one's discussing hiking areas being a part of this. But to me, I think the mechanized motorized boundary is gonna be blurred heavily in the next 10 years. And so my preference is that we discuss it more along the mechanized, that's the line. Or one of the lines. There are going to be many lines, you know. We're not discussing motorcycles being allowed on Raptor route, just pedal assist bikes. And so, you know, there are gonna be many different lines, and I think maintaining the, you know, the highest pinnacle of that is hiking only, you know, like, and, you know, undeveloped, no mechanization, you know, no horses, you know, that's the next level of the triangle, and I think all these levels are important.
There's a no horses in hiking?
There are areas that are,
Sand flats.
generally speaking, a horse is allowed to go anywhere. There are some trails.
Yeah, in
Grand County
Colorado,
that
in
are no
wilderness areas, horses are usually allowed.
Correct, in all
No,
cases.
it's
in
always,
wilderness areas.
it's always confusing, like. it's
There are
ruining my
several
hiking
trails, I
trip.
believe.
Yeah.
But I've been
Yeah.
riding up in sand flats.
I believe there are several trails in the county that are designated no horse, which would be just the very next small rare step
Yeah.
down
No, I was
to
just
mountain
curious.
bikes being allowed on most trails, but not all. And then, of course, like, you know, single track motor, and double track motor. So,
Are you aware there's an e-bike person out there in the general public that feels they're just gonna hide and pretend and not cut, and then to try and get away with it? But they're not, they're gonna deny riding the trails, but they're out there riding the trails all the time. I don't know, there's a secret e-bike world out there that's not gonna become verbal about it, cause they're sneaking it.
right, I mean, I
Yeah.
think,
I mean, I'm seeing it all the time, and.
I'm
then
very
talk
aware
to them
that people are riding e-bike
Right.
on mountain bike trails.
Right,
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll come forward and support it. Yeah, they're the secret public.
I mean, I think, you know, most people who are into e-bikes, like myself, are very vocal.
Okay, all right,
You know, there are very few people who are keeping it a secret that they, you know,
okay,
they are passionate. And like, you know, in most cases for like early adopters, like I'm an early adopter of,
Okay.
not the earliest, but like, you know, the people who are the earliest adopters are the nerdiest about it. Like, they're like, oh,
Okay.
e-bikes, like.
But do you believe they could be on the same trail, or we should have two separate
oh,
trails?
no, the same trail.
I think they belong on the same trails as mountain bikes. For the most part. I do think there are, delineations. I'm not necessarily sure that Grand County has good examples where there should be, delineations. One example of a trail that I don't think that is a mountain bike trail that shouldn't have e-bikes on it is like the Colorado Trail. Really busy trail, already a lot of user conflict. That's not gonna help. So I do think there are categories of very special backcountry trails. The trails that are allowed for mountain biking in Grand County, really are already pre-sorted out. I mean, they're entirely pre-sorted out of being like wilderness. Most Grand County trails are not like true deep backcountry trails, even though they are like close backcountry trails. The ones that are designated mountain bike trails, are kind of front country trails, they're long. trip. So,
Well, I personally think you answered the last one too.
On the personal,
Well, we have to ask. it.
what are my
What-
personal conflicts?
say it again.
What is your personal vision for the future of the Sand Flats area? We have to ask each applicant
Sure.
the same question.
Yeah, I mean, I think, wow, I mean, it's just like, you know,
Well, that's the
take,
easiest question.
takes into account, how do you take into account, like, how Lions Back is gonna affect that, how pavement's gonna affect that.
Right, that's what,
Like
yeah,
my personal future, like I hope to see, a great single track loop for Raptor route. That people are allowed to e-bike, that attaches to the Porcupine Rim. I would like to see us, manage Hell's Revenge and Fins and Things like a roller coaster.
What does that mean?
Like every day there's a mechanic who inspects it. That when there become problems, someone's working on it constantly, like, you know, there are hundreds of people going on Hell's Revenge every day, thousands, I mean, I don't know the actual
Right.
number.
Right.
Like it's a roller coaster, so, you know, like the amount
You know,
of.
let them in on kind of amount of people.
And must be this tall to ride, but, that it's such a serious attraction, it needs to be treated as such, and without the
You're
kind
saying
of,
daily maintenance on the trail? Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
Is that your analogy? You're talking about.
more or less, yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, that there needs to be that, you know, these are like most commercially valuable trails, and you know, highest use, and so they need a lot of attention, more than they're getting from the BLM exclusively. And yeah, so like they need to be treated as like a high attention, high maintenance, thing. You know, so I think, yeah, that, continuing to, you know, I mean, the motorized management is a lot, and you can see it in the way that they analogously, like at Dead Horse Point, like the entire trail is like lined in trees now. Cause we just gotta keep people on the trail, and it's just like, it is that much work, so, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Do you have any questions for us?
Orderly. And so just Dale's leaving, right? Dale.
He left.
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah,
So-
Position.
And then it's, what's the commitment?
It's open, there's no term, it's just, you're on until you don't wanna be on,
Mhm.
so.
How long has everybody been on?
it's really hard to leave.
It's my 8th year, I think everybody's. Well,
Did you come in 2018?
It's really
I
hard to
remember when we
leave.
interviewed for you,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Did we interview you in 18 as well? Yeah, was your 10 year.
I thought we were the same year.
No, you
No,
came
no.
on the year before I did.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, people usually.
Maybe
But
that,
we interviewed at the
And are
same
you
time.
the commission appointee, so?
yeah.
And then Jennifer
When you
Jones
become
or-
senator.
Then he'll be
You
the
might
state
have to, yeah.
representative
It'll
here.
be another.
You're smarter than that, aren't you?
So, I guess the other applicants asked, I mean, you might be going down this similar path. Is that, I mean, the responsibility is oversee budget is a part of it, of course, and, it's in the resolution on the website. But, mainly I'm bringing all the activities that are happening at Sand Flats, you know, to the committee and letting them know about them. Sometimes some things require their vote. A lot of times it's just a discussion item and filling them in on what's going on, you know, like I was saying today, let them know about new videos that are gonna be on channel 6, what my staff is doing with BLM updates, you know, what the heavy equipment work that the BLM has done up there for us. I mean, the BLM will do some things, we're in partnership on things, specific things, they'll tell us what's going on from their end. So, you know,
Is there, this is an official committee, so there's minutes and.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
Who's the
it's all
secretary?
recorded. Matt,
Matt's acting is the, I
I
don't know if we.
You already got an eye on you, so don't worry.
Check, I'm just familiar with how difficult it is to produce quality minutes, but I could certainly go look at some minutes to get a better understanding, a deeper understanding.
kind
Yeah.
of transcripts.
And here, yeah, I can give you December's.
And these guys YouTube also, so there's a.
Yeah, we're on our
video
YouTube.
record, too.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I feel, I mean, the MTC is an entry level, you know, no budgets.
always,
So he's showing off. the
always
YouTube
showing you
page.
our page.
Okay,
Yeah, if you want to watch the past meetings over the last 4 or 5 years, go up to the YouTube channel. What is you guys?
What? Okay,
Okay.
Great. Feedback. All right, well, thank you.
okay, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, see you around.
Thanks for your willingness.
Have a great day. Thanks. See everybody else.
All right.
After seeing the caliber of applicants, I think I probably should speak out.
That's what I said.
Come on, Dave.
Okay, we're not done. You're not gonna get out of it. How are you doing today?
All right,
thanks for your time.
thank you.
Okay. well,
You know, you still have a chance to run while you can.
No, it's too late, you sat down.
Okay, here's.
If you look at my old white hair and rule me out, that's okay.
There's white hair in this room.
He's got a little white hair. Mike, how old are you?
I am 75,
Oh,
real close to 76.
see,
Wow.
So Dale was the grandpa, but now you are.
Yeah.
Okay, there's Dave's. So we have like 8 questions. We'll just go through.
Okay.
I guess I've been jumping in and starting. So please tell us about your work experience that is relevant to a position on the SFRA Stewardship Committee,
You know,
if there's.
work experience, well, I guess if there's any trail building, I'm not much of a trail builder these days because my back won't let me do much, but, I've worked with dirt all my life. I worked as an engineer with my, or as a surveyor with my dad when I was a kid and wish they'd have electronic devices to do that back then. We used to have to dynamite trees out of the way so we could see a line and chainsaw and various things. Work experience. I put down some of the things I've done that not really occupational work,
Yeah, that's the next question.
but
We'll have
yeah,
that.
yeah.
If that's.
Yeah.
Save that, and I'm gonna ask you that one.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
You're next, Mike. Go for it.
All right, so please tell us about your non-work experience.
Well, I've been active in trail building and trail maintaining and not just off-road things, but I was about 8. I remember a friend and I were sledding down a hill. And we got to a point where there was no snow cover. There was a bare patch in the dirt. And so we were just going across it, but it was getting worse. And so I stopped to throw dirt on it, or stopped to throw snow on that patch. And he just kept going down. He thought it was a waste of time. So I guess as an 8-year-old, I was a trail builder, but trails are important to me. We worked, we had a verbal agreement with the Forest Service up until they kicked us off in 91. We'd call Raymond Carling, we'd say, hey, we're gonna go ride our dirt bikes up on the, what do you call it? I don't wanna say South Mountain, but it's the trail that goes length north and south on the mountain. Trans,
Yeah.
he would say, well, stop by the shop, he said, Gil will have a chainsaw, sharpened up for you, and you take that saw and cut out any deadfalls you find, and I was, well, I spent the winter, I spent the entire summer of my childhood at Miners Basin, covered as many miles of trails as I could. So there's, it's an important part of my personality.
You have
What-
something on there about, what does he have on there? 45 years riding motorcycles? Slick Rock Trail Rider since 1972, Desert Racer. What's a Desert Racer? Is that on motorcycles?
Dale was a desert racer.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
Dale.
Well, like the
desert racer.
Enduro loop.
Molly's a desert racer.
I don't kill myself.
Yeah, well, desert racers don't quit.
That's part of that back problem.
Yeah,
And then Ride with Respect board member, Sage Rider Club, Book Cliff Rattler member. I don't know those.
Those are out of Carbon County Price.
the
Oh,
Book Cliff Ladlers put on the last desert race at Chimney Rock, Chimney Rock and, oh,
Back,
names escape me these days.
the colored trails,
Yeah, Dubinky, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Right.
Oh,
The
Enduro.
Dubinky race was an important race. The Green River Jeep Posse used to put that on back in the sixties and seventies, and then they kind of faded out of existence, and there weren't any races at Dubinky for.
so these are all motorcycle.
Yeah,
races. Okay, okay.
I was in one mountain bike race once. Didn't do, I had to stop taking a nap at the top of, up there by the communications tower on the dome or whatever that is up on above Monticello.
What is your familiarity with Sand Flats and why would you like to be on the committee?
Well, for years, I was the closest house to Sand Flats. That's where I learned how to ride a bike. That's where I learned that you don't wanna lock up the back brake going down Slick Rock. My dad was not happy with the results of that. The Sand Flats recreation area has been an important part of my life since I was a little kid. I used to go, as I ventured further and further from the house, that was the direction I usually went.
And why would you like to be on the committee?
Well, I just like to contribute wherever I can. After seeing Mark and Reed, I'm thinking probably I don't need to worry about that. I think they're in good hands, but I'm not done contributing. I'm physically, I'm pretty done. But, if institutional knowledge is of any help, I've got some of that. I know things about Sand Flats that Cliff has sworn me to secrecy about.
Okay.
What's your connection with the hiking and biking community?
Well, I am one. I'm not a record keeper, but a friend of mine named Price, who does a lot of all of the above, he keeps track of the miles each year that he hikes, bicycles, and rides a dirt bike, motorized dirt bike. I don't know that he's gone on to e-bikes yet, but he could give you the numbers, but probably a lot of the value I felt in riding a dirt bike was if you were actually in a race, or even sometimes if you were in a race, was seeing places that you might want to go back and check out on foot later, it was on a ride with Dale coming out of, what do you call it, Durango area, over to Monticello one day that I became fascinated with the Calico Peak area and decided to go back and took my wife and went and then, spent the night hiking, camping and backpacking. And I always wanted to be a backpacker, but I never made it. I bought all the stuff, but there was always somebody with a plug sewer or a broken water line or something, and I just never did really My family all wanted to go to Disneyland, but we never went to Disneyland. We went to Hatch, North and South Hatch Canyon instead, or, someplace, you know.
That's better.
I thought so.
Dave, some of these are a little repetitive, but what's your connection with motorized recreation in the Moab area? Well, you ride with respect and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
were you, I don't understand how Ride with Respect, I mean, it's a nonprofit, so did you have like an
They-
official title with Ride with Respect, or?
I'm the chairman now. I'm the chairman of the board,
Okay,
kind of by default. Dale was. I was also on.
'cause it's a nonprofit organization.
yeah,
Yeah. Dale and I wanted, for years, Dale and I wanted to make some kind of an organization. I mean, Dale and I used to sit up on that rim up there and scan the valley and kind of, we'd lay out a GP course, you know, they kind of, Adelanto had a GP course. I'm trying to think of Grand Prix, where they get a little bit of every kind of dirt bike racing, including some street riding. They have to find an inviting town, but they'll race through, they'll have a route through a town, paved streets, paved corner, curb and gutter, and they'll race through this section of town and then out into the hills and hit a motocross track for, you know, a lap around a motocross track and then out in the hills. And Dale and I had it all figured out, you know, it never happened, but, you know, we got.
But the Sovereign Trail was a big chunk.
Yeah, I was always honored that Cliff decided to name part of the Solomon Trail after me, but, I don't know how many people ever take the time to look at that map, but, yeah, I was also on the board of the USA All, Utah Shared Access, it was an organization and, they kind of lost their momentum when they tried to sue the BLM over factory butte.
yeah,
They didn't like losing factory
Factory
butte as a place to. Wild sky shot films was never my thing, so I never went to factory butte, but.
okay. Well, the Stewardship Committee meets quarterly on the second Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. Would you be able to meet the schedule?
Yeah, I guess I would probably be coming right from Motorized Trail Committee to here.
Yeah,
Both on the same day, that might be good. That might be good.
But it's only quarterly.
but we're only
so it's
quarterly,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
not every time.
Well, how do you feel about mixed usage of motorized and non-motorized recreation at Sandflat?
well, Ride with Respect, 15 years ago or so, earned a national award for trail sharing. I've never been about exclusion of any kind. In fact, you know, I was up on the Slick Rock Trail one day when there were people up there, I think I was up there one time there were skateboards, and I think another time they were up there on unicycles.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Yeah.
can't really ride the official trail.
Ooh, some unicycles do pretty good.
Maybe, but they were, you know, some of them were not really on the trail and it, you know, as far as, and this might get me kicked off. But in my opinion, those painted lines up there are a suggestion to help you keep from getting lost, and they kept me from getting lost when I was young and didn't know the area well, but,
That got controversial about staying on.
I know about that.
Yeah.
People were arrested and people got shipped out of the kid for each other. Yeah.
John Howard,
You don't
did
have to.
a mule mountain bike ride off.
That's right, I remember that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the mule won, didn't it?
I don't know.
I know you know Jim Walker. Jim Walker and I rode the Slick Rock Trail. I didn't ride the Slick Rock Trail much more than once every 10 years until Jim Walker and I became friends. And then it was like 50 times a year, you know, and we got to where we were covering that trail on our dirt bikes so fast that I finally said, you know, Jim, we better stop this. One of us is gonna go off a cliff because we're just too fast.
Oh, because you're so familiar with it, you just kept going.
Well, he was he knew that trail so well. I never knew it as well as he did, but anywhere near, but, he would say, you go in front, I'll follow you. And he would keep up by taking little shortcuts, cause he knew where he knew. He knew the places where the trail looped back and, so he kind of, pushed me that way. But,
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because, yeah, I mean, when you were helping Jim, I mean, this was years ago, but you guys would go out like 3 times a day. You'd
Mhm.
go out, bring water to everybody. This is before camelbacks, you know? People were running out of water all the time.
yeah, I don't remember what day that
And
was.
Jim
I was home from
saved
a,
it.
I was home from a race.
He really did.
It
Him
was
and his
Mother's
kids.
Day. It was Mother's Day about, about
Dude, they did.
18 years ago or so. And probably about 2004 or 5, and Jim called me. I was just sitting on the couch with my wife and Jim called and said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm sitting here talking to Carrie on Mother's Day, and he said, can you get away? Cause I got a lady here that's in big trouble. 2 ladies actually, and, they had gone practice loop and they'd gone maybe 3 miles out onto the main trail. And they were out of water and Jim had given, them all of his water. 2 or 3 liters worth, and, so I was trying to think, my bike was still in the trailer, still loaded up, so I grabbed 2 milk jugs and I filled them both up with water, put one on my belt here and one on my belt here, got on my bike, rode out there. They were already working their way back towards the parking lot, pushing their bikes. And, they drank those 2 gallons of water, and I went after another one. Before they got to the parking lot, they drank 3 gallons of water that day, getting back to the parking lot. And I don't think I think at least one of those would have died that day if I hadn't, figured out how to do that.
Yeah, we had 1 or 2 deaths. When I first started working in sandbox, we had 1 or 2 deaths every year from the heat.
Yeah, Jim knows all their names, I don't, but,
It was horrible.
it was that one that was, and I guess one of them wasn't out of water, I don't know if he was on the sand flat, slick rock, but, he was up in that area, and he wasn't even out of water, but he was apparently short on electrolytes or something, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I remember you were involved with all that.
Yeah, I was a member of the Slick Rock Bike Patrol.
Yep. Okay, what,
Uh,
Your last of them, right? Yeah.
what is your personal vision for the future of Sand Flats?
That's a good question. I liked what they did on the 50-year anniversary. I liked I hadn't really, I sat down at the resource area where, where the office where this office used to be probably 30 years ago and talked to Kirsten Peterson and Matt Hubbard, and I was concerned at that time that they would be closing some trail, and actually some trail did get closed, as you know. But they assured me that day that there wouldn't be any trail closures at Sand Flatters, and that motorized bikes were always gonna be an important part of that place, and I want to make sure that the motors are always allowed there. I'll always push for inclusion every chance I get.
Okay.
yeah, no plans to change that while I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you have any questions for us?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, last one.
Thanks for your willingness. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, and here's our last one, what I was doing. Where'd he go?
He's here.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, I mean. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Come on in.
Go outside, it's hot in here, you guys do
Oh,
know.
is it?
It's the hot seat,
Hey,
gets people cooking.
you can-
I know him, I know you.
Hi.
Tom Dillon.
Tom, Dave,
Mike Kelso.
Mike,
Andrea Brown.
Andrea, all right.
All right, take
You want me over
whichever
here?
seat you like, we.
And then-
BLM.
If you wanna be really
representative.
hot, this is popping out. Oh, look, move, Matt, sorry.
I just, yeah,
Go ahead,
I keep
Matt.
forgetting. Matt, who's
Right
hosting
on.
this, and Carbon
being
staff,
recorded,
staff,
so,
you
right.
are being recorded, that's
Yeah.
part of the process.
Don't start bashing the county council or anything.
All right, okay, I guess I'm the starter again. Okay, so we have just a few questions here. Please tell us about your work experience that is relevant to a position on the Sound Flats Stewardship Committee, if you have some.
I've never had any paid work that would be relevant, other than, I guess, leadership stuff through the military and being a teacher. And planning stuff through being a teacher in the military. When I lived in El Paso, Texas, before I moved here for 19 years, and as soon as I moved there, I noticed a gap in the recreational community and the land managers. There was no communication. The outdoor clubs were all activity clubs and not advocacy clubs. And then we had in 2006 a gigantic storm. It washed away the few good single track trails that we had because a lot of them were poorly built. And after that, a lot of new, what I call rake and ride trails popped up, which are illegal trails. And so a buddy of mine and I got a mountain bike club that had turned into a party club and then just faded away. We took their organization and turned it into a straight up advocacy organization. And tried to raise funds through events, which they still do. Did a good job of getting members of that organization into city council meetings and ended up getting the city council to create an open space advisory board. And they're the largest urban state park in the country is in El Paso, 28,000 acres. It's a state park that is extremely undermanned with 28,000 acres, and they had 2 law enforcement officers and I think about 10 to 15 staff, rangers, superintendent. And they were also responsible for a historic house downtown and a like a old ski lift type thing, a gondola, to access some radio towers, but they used it to access the top of the mountain, tourist center, things like that. So I was pretty heavily involved with that, helped build trails. Tried to do my best to convince city council members and the mayor and all these guys that they needed to do certain things. Worked with the water utilities, because the water utilities owns most of the open space in El Paso. So they do all these funky things like sell the land back to the city, which made no sense to me. But we did get the city to pass we got the water utilities to, well, I guess it was the city who got the water utilities to tack on an open space fund on to basically make the ratepayer cover a little bit. And next thing you know, we had millions and millions of dollars in this fund. And eventually got the city to build trailheads for some trails that were getting overused. The trails weren't getting overused, but parking areas around them were. And several $1 million later, we got 3 parking spots that parked 9 cars.
For several $1 million.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
We just did 8 cars for $1,500.
I know, I was like, the city, the city staffers who should have done all this themselves hired a consulting firm who had never done trailheads. So they came to us, which we had already gone to the city and said, hey, here's what we need, and here's where it needs to be, and here's what it needs to look like. Came to us, we told them this is what needs to be done, and they did not do what we wanted. But the mayor and the city council did get an amazing plaque at each one of those trailheads. that probably cost a few $1,000s for each one of those. So I've worked with bureaucracies and,
We're pretty efficient around here. We don't have money to waste.
well, before I actually moved here, I was teaching remotely and I was kind of doing a little test run of cohabitation with my partner. And I started attending trail mix meetings online. And I went back home for a few months and was like, oh my gosh, you guys, you have to like do it this way. Of course, it just didn't work. And so as soon as I moved here, I think like right after I moved here, everybody went back face to face for our meetings and I started showing up to trail mix meetings. I'm currently an at-large voting member there now. And just do what I can to kind of contribute my ideas and then volunteer with little projects here and there. So, my first job out of college, I have an environmental science degree. My first job out of college, I worked for the largest property owning private college in the country in North Georgia and did timber management and a bunch of like storm remediation from down timber and ended up going from counting trees and measuring water tables to cutting trees and hauling them out with a skidder. So I have been involved with some other things that was actually paid work, but that was kind of a low man on the totem pole with all that stuff, so.
We can probably skip to the familiarity one.
Yeah, you've covered,
You've covered the non-work and the work.
the work, so. Well, guys kind of covered that one too, but what is your familiarity with sand flats?
My familiarity, my first camped at Sand Flats, September of '93. There was no one else up there. I rode Slick Rock and there was 2 other people on the trail. It wasn't hot yet, or it wasn't, yeah, it was still a little hot. Not totally hot, but it was nice. And then, I moved to Salt Lake, in the '90s and came down a few times and would ride through town up Sand Flats Road and do Porcupine, Loop, things like that. And from what I know now, you guys work with BLM, the state and the county to take care of that area.
Yeah, the state, well, the law enforcement comes up.
I've
And we
noticed.
did used to have SITLA, State Institutional Trust Lands up there, but those all switched out to BLM in 2014.
There you go.
So, but we do work with them with law enforcement. So,
So Andrea is director of Sand Flats is the account, I guess would be the county side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with collaboration with the BLM.
yeah, we take care of all the, well, it was set up that we take care of all the day-to-day, which is what we do, but then they didn't, when they originally set it up, they didn't know we would be able to do so many improvements as well, so we have a good fund balance and I write grants over the years, and so we've been able to make the improvements as well, and then they help us some with that, but in general, it's, all the contracts and everything are through the county and
Right.
through the county system.
I mean, I've witnessed the growth. Before I moved here, I went through a divorce in 14 and my ex moved to Salt Lake. And so pretty much every break I would come through here on my way to Salt Lake or meet my ex with my kiddo and here. And so I've seen a lot of the improvements over the years
Yeah.
in Sand Flats. And it's amazing. And one of those things I tell my friends in other places, you gotta do it this way. It's like-
Well, I've been the manager since 2004, and I've worked at Sand Flats since '98, and, been in Moab since the '80s, but yeah, so anyway, yeah, you're aware, you were here in '93, so you know how it's changed.
It has changed a lot and it's getting a lot of use. And I kind of pick my times. Like, so I'm very selective on when I go up there on my bike. So just because I don't want to deal with,
When it's too crowded.
I don't want to deal with what's on my street.
Okay.
Uh,
What
Oh,
is,
wait, we missed one. Why would you like to be on the committee?
yeah,
I was gonna say that,
Sorry,
Release,
sorry.
she beat me to it.
Well, I was actually, encouraged to be on the committee. I saw it pop up, Colin sent it out to us on the trail mix stuff. And I was like, no, that might be interesting. And then right after it got sent out, I got a text from a friend that said, hey, you should apply for that. And I said, okay, I will. And what's really funny is I had just applied for a job right 10 minutes prior to that. And I wasn't ever planning on ever making a resume ever again. But I did and applied for a job with the county. So I did two things in one day that I was like, okay, I can do this. Get on the website, do whatever. But I don't really, I mean, I have a small business that I run. And then my partner and I manage a campground. And it's seasonal and it's really easy. So I feel like if I'm going to live in a community that I'm not like in the school district teaching or working as an elected official or even working as a, you know, a paid staffer somewhere, I should volunteer. So that's the main reason I went ahead and did it. And I really like Sand Flats and the area up there. I mean, when my friends come to town, if they've got RVs, I go up there and find them a camp spot and here, I'll be back for dinner and tomorrow morning to ride or whatever, you know, so. Yeah, it's a special place that we have here, so I care a lot about it and might as well contribute some time to help out.
Yeah, you could.
what is your connection with hiking and biking recreation in the Moab area?
My connection, well, I mean, I had a mountain bike wedding here in 2000. Y2K. And it's interesting, my first knowledge of Moab, I was in Tennessee for school and I was working at a bike shop. It was super high end and everyone was just chomping at the bit to come out west. And, you know, I went home last fall, or went to my mom's house last fall to do a cleanup. And I found a 1985 issue of Cyclist or Cycling magazine that had an article about Moab. And they were out at Elephant Hill Rock down there in the Needles on their old beater bikes with no helmets and tennis shorts and yeah, it was a pretty interesting article. So, I mean, I've always had like Moab's always been mountain biking. And I've always come through here at least once a year before I moved here to have a mountain bike vacation. I did work as a mountain bike guide here for a short time with Rim Tours. I actually have a small bike packing rental business where I rent bike packing bikes and I make bike packing bags. So mountain biking is kind of a major part of my life. And I like to build trails still. I've built a lot of trails in Texas, but it's really hard to build trails now at my age. So I go and help out with trail days as much as I can and try to find the lightest, least,
Cool.
least painful job that they have going on. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Well, how about the motorized recreation?
I have a Forerunner and I really like wheeling. And I owned a Jeep in high school and used to do all kinds of Jeeping things with some buddies who also had Jeeps. I have no issue with the motorized recreation that is traditional to Moab. I think it's gotten a little out of hand and it's a little disruptive to us as a community. I see, and it's funny, we've got some great advocates for responsible recreation here in Moab that are motorized folks with hundreds of thousands of YouTube followers. And they do a great job of telling people what is going on that's causing trails to be closed. And then the next day after watching one of their videos, and they discuss in a video the guys with the modified exhaust and the lit whips on their side-by-sides. And it's guys who own motorized tour companies that are actually voicing these concerns. And the next day I see the guy with the loud exhaust and the lit whips going 35 miles an hour down my street. And of course I hear it first, I should always look, so.
Yeah, it's disruptive. And-
Yeah, and I'm, the trails that are up there for four-wheeling are amazing, and they break a lot of vehicles, which I think is awesome. And it's provides a solid income for a lot of people in this town, the tour businesses. And it's great to see people who aren't into mountain biking and hiking go up there and do their thing and enjoy it. And especially if they go with a good reputable business that's guiding people and giving them some pretty good information about the area. I'm still trying to remember all the geology. I have a fun book that's full of all these notes I took last year at the public land seminar. And I always forget it. I might go places.
Which is this Saturday.
Yes, it is this.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
right, we'll be there.
The stewardship committee meets quarterly on the second Thursday of the month. Are you able to meet that schedule?
I should be able to. I don't see why not. I mean, since it's quarterly,
It's pretty
I
easy.
put it in the calendar.
What if everyone's gone on the
Trail-
same day?
Trail mix meeting monthly is, I've missed about, I think I'm missing about 3 meetings a year with trail mix.
Oh, are you a voting member if it's 3 in a row you make?
Right, 3 in a
Yeah.
row. Actually, we changed our bylaws.
Oh,
So you have to actually be voted in, and you have to
Oh.
meet those attendance guidelines.
oh,
So,
Interesting.
I thought it was kind of interesting that I just had to show up to be a voting member. And then somebody asked me about it. I think Colin asked me about it. And I was like, I found it kind of, not really disturbing or anything, but just interesting that you guys didn't like give me like a stamp of approval or anything like that,
Yeah, Maddie just told me about it, but they just changed.
Just start showing up and then start voting. It's like, all right, that's cool. That's easy. So.
How do you feel about the mix of, you might have already answered this.
you kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll read it, I'll just read it, see if
Oh.
you wanna add anything, cause I have to read the same to everyone.
okay.
How do you feel about the mix of motorized and non-motorized recreation in sand flats? Do you have any more to add, cause it was along with what you were saying?
Oh, I have no issue with the motorized recreation in the area, other than the guys who are a little bit rowdy and aren't following the rules. I think one of my biggest concerns is just how much general traffic is going up there. And then with the new Raptor route, there's a lot of people that are self-shuttling in their own personal vehicles. And that's a little frustrating to see. And it's even more frustrating to see those vehicles pass you and they have e-bikes on them. And you're like, wait, why are you riding an e-bike up the hill?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one of my only concerns is the amount of just general traffic. And a lot of people, I don't know, you get these guys that go there, I call them Broverlanders, and they're souped up, whatever, going to camp and all that, and they're driving way too fast. And they're, it's, when the road's dusty, please slow down. At least slow down for a cyclist, or the group of cyclists that you see. I've heard stories about some of the things that go on Hell's Revenge and Friday nights, stuff like that, where on Saturdays, the first tour group up there is picking up trash. I don't know how true that is and how bad it is. it's there, it's part of what Moab is, and it's a huge part of our economy.
You've kind of answered this one too, but how do you feel about the mix between motorized and, non-motorized?
Do I miss that? No, she just
She-
asked that.
Yeah, she.
Yeah, that's what I just asked.
So the very last one.
Read the last one.
We got it. That's been his question the whole
Oh,
day.
there you go.
Somehow it got out of order, and we're just totally disrupted.
What is your personal vision for the future of sandflats?
How's this sound? How about, I would love to see, well, in the future, I don't know if it'll happen, and
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, say it.
I wanna see,
Mountain
well,
bike trail.
No, let's talk. Come on.
that's here, that's, no, actually, so my partner has a cabin up on Wilson Mesa. And it's got, there's no trees on it. I was like, you should put a solar farm up here and have a electric side-by-side charging station. Because side-by-sides are gonna be electric. Eventually, side-by-sides are gonna be electric, and then they'll be awesome, cause they'll be quiet.
Yeah.
The problem is they'll have even more torque and they'll destroy more trails, but they'll break a lot, which will be good for the economy. Yeah, I would love to see some sort of like solar, the Ramadas or whatever you guys call the covered camping areas. Solar powered stuff there, to have people have places to charge their phones and whatever, maybe even have car charging stations up there. That's one of the things we're looking to do at the campgrounds, put in electric car charging stations, because we're getting a lot of requests now. And we're seeing, usually every weekend, there's an electric car in our parking lot, and we only have 16 spots. So
Where's your,
it's up the creek over on 300 South.
Oh, you
Okay.
up the creek.
yeah,
Oh,
okay,
Yeah.
all right, where you're at.
Yeah, so, and the people who own that property, they have a plug-in hybrid, so they would like to have a charging station too.
you really still own it?
No.
No.
It's my partner's sister that owns it. Yeah, I'd like to, I think that would be kind of a neat thing to have some charging stations in some of the campgrounds for electric vehicles. Yeah, the uphill trail, I thought that was something that was gonna happen anyway. I know they've been talking about it at Trail Mix quite a bit, and Colin's been pushing for it. I actually rode up Kestrel the other day, have a new challenge.
Well, that hill, up Kestrel.
That
hill
last
is a
little bit, I made it over the log, the little right-hander on the log, the little platform, and then after that, I'm like,
I don't think anyone,
It's gotta
I don't
shake.
even know if Tyson bikes up it, does he?
No, but I was trying to walk my mountain bike up it, which is challenging.
Easy.
Yeah.
No, it's challenging because of traction,
It was
and these two
better.
e-bikers just came. And I'm like,
Oh, so the
right,
bikers
girl,
cleaned
you're not
it?
supposed to be up
they
there.
cleaned it.
Nice.
They
Well,
knew me too.
that's-
I'm like,
alright.
well, I'm struggling here.
Okay, I know what kind of wattage I need to put down. Yeah.
But I enjoy going down it.
Maybe some, there've been talks of paving it. And, I don't know, my fear of paving is that speeds increase. But then dust decreases, and, I don't know, it's, all kinds of studies need to be done on some of that.
Well,
stuff.
the grant is in.
We'll see if we
So
get it.
it's a raise.
Right on.
We'll see if we get it. This is year
Please-
4.
My idea is like, please put some really big speed humps, but not so big that the side-by-side guys wanna jump them. I mean, I don't know, how do you slow down traffic that isn't gonna go slow, and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of.
Well, you can put, there's things they can do. So give it a little more line to it.
Pains, whatever, I don't know.
it's a fight, it has been a fight, I represent GP.
Mhm.
And when we're out there, we're doing 5-10 miles an hour, we're
Yeah.
creeping, and then you get these people going past you and they're off the trail and they're doing 35 miles an hour. And you yell at them, but they're already gone,
Yeah, they don't hear you.
yeah. But you just have to keep trying to
Right.
preach it to the people and stay on the trail and. And hope for the best.
You park a lot of law enforcement vehicles like Moab City is doing.
That's,
Well, with the
that stops
stuff buried
working.
or something?
I mean, I have
Yeah.
the big flashing light on my street.
Out on the county, there's a mannequin that looks pretty good, except one woman got upset that somebody was napping on the job. I cracked up. She was gonna complain.
Well, yeah, my street has the flashing light now, and
Yeah.
it's like they wanna see it flash.
That flashing is
Oh.
annoying.
Yeah, and I'll be in the yard and all of a sudden I
It's
get like this like
yeah.
seizure thing going on from the flashing light.
That is.
But
rather
it
annoying.
is, I mean, it's interesting, cause you will see people slow down, and then you'll see the people that are not gonna slow down, they'll actually speed up.
Oh,
Well, that's when you need law enforcement.
Yeah. So I know we have a lot more police officers now, but then with 2 BLM officers for the Moab district and is it, how many state guys are there? One?
There's
One?
two. There's Luca and Jeff, at least. Jeff
So
Arnold.
BLM's supposed to have 3.
Yeah,
Actually, they're
BLM
supposed to
has
have
3.
4.
BLM has
Dave,
Nick and
Corey,
Dave and
yeah.
Corey, Cody.
oh,
And
Dave's and the other one,
he
okay.
comes up, though, that's the good thing with Sandplots, we have the sheriff comes up, the BLM comes up, the state comes up. Sometimes we won't,
but I see the staff vehicles every time I come up, which is great.
oh, well, we're up there every
I
day.
know,
all
I'm
the
very
time.
happy with it.
And we're getting out on the trail now more with our new UTV that we really like, so. Except it's, we've got a few noise problems right now. I think it's gonna be recalled, but anyway. It's another story. No, but anyway, do you have questions for us?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I think I'm good.
all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for calling me in for an interview. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for the time.
I've been interviewed in a really, really. Matt, nice meeting everybody.
Thank
It was Tom
Thank you.
Yes.
and Molly.
Molly and Vivian.
Mike, and Evan here.
He knows that.
See you guys.
Bye.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Should we take a 5 before we? Yeah, you two
that
option,
right up?
yeah, right here, first right. Should we do a little, can we do a 5 intermission or not recording us?
Recess.
Recess, that's the word. We're ready to vote.
What is the motion, the
Oh,
action.
I don't think I wrote it.
vote on a new stewardship, okay,
Yeah, that's all I wrote.
and they need to officially be appointed by the county? Is that the thing?
Alicia said it has to go to the
Okay.
county.
Are we recording?
Yep,
Alright. I would make a motion to forward a favorable recommendation for the appointment of Mark Pope to the Sand Flats Stewardship Committee.
I'll second it.
Okay,
If for some reason there was a turn down by Mark Pope, we could say that we had a runner-up of Jenna, but if we
Okay.
need to document that,
can we do that or not?
I guess we don't need to do it.
Sorry.
I think you just made it public, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, but I think in terms of like what we send to the commission for approval, that might just muddy the waters, so.
Right.
Well, let's cross that bridge when it comes
Okay.
to it, that's what I would.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, presented by Evan, and seconded by Mike. So is there any discussion or are you ready to vote?
we can vote.
We can vote.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Alright.
Okay, that Mark Pope is our choice, stewardship committee's choice for a new stewardship committee member, and we will send that to the commission for their approval.
And you can draft that letter?
Is that what I do?
I think so, I think it's usually like that, 5 applicants were interviewed in an open public meeting and the stewardship, committee,
Okay. Okay,
whatever,
Alicia might even have a full one.
she probably does.
is it too hard to email everyone and thank them for their interviewing?
Oh, no, we'll do that.
Okay,
Yeah, just like we do with like HR does, I can do that.
okay.
Definitely, I always did that.
Okay.
last time.
And I, in that to them, I would mention that the process that we send a recommendation to the commission, but the commission makes the final decision, because in the last month or two, there's been a few instances where they didn't go with body's recommendation,
Okay,
so.
makes final.
Yeah. That way it puts it on the commission and us if there's some.
All right. Okay. All right, well, I think we can adjourn.
Great.
Thank you, Pat.
Do we have to motion to adjourn or we just?
No, we just-
Once we finish the.
I second
Great.
it.
Okay.
You guys did great.
Okay. Do something on the agenda.